Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Rewind That. It's your girl, Miss K. If this is your first time coming across my channel, welcome. Please be sure to subscribe if you like the vibe and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. All right, guys, today we are going to be going over the latest episode of BMF Season 1, episode number 8, called King of Detroit, and it's the season finale. And as promised, if you watch me on Lamont Tyson's channel, I said that my review for the final episode, well, season finale, would be a little special. I'm going to have a special guest and I'm going to introduce him right now. Well, he's going to introduce himself, so go ahead and say hello.
Hello, my name is Zamir, second child of Miss K. So, welcome.
This is my son. Yes, he's the second child, and he just started watching BMF, and so I'm very excited because he started watching BMF in the nick of time. I'm like, yes, I have somebody that I can actually review the show with, just at least once, okay? So let's get into this episode, guys. What we're gonna do today is I'm gonna go about my way of reviewing it like I normally do. You're gonna see the slides and the pictures and all that stuff of the scenes, and then we're gonna stop and discuss at some point, all right? So let's get into it right now. All right, guys, so the episode starts off with Kato meeting up with Lamar to let him know that Meech will be at a certain location tomorrow with minimum security, okay? This is when he meets up with his new plug. We learn later on that Kato made this up on a fly because the main point was for B. Mickey to follow Lamar and kill him. But unfortunately, he got pulled over by the cops and they took him in. In the following scenes, we see the cops making their rounds with the rest of the 50 boys. They pick up Terry at school, which had to be embarrassing, and they picked up Meech while he was at Lori's house. And of course, Detective Bryant, he was the one who brought in Meech because he really has one on for him, okay? But it was all for nothing, guys, because they didn't have anything to hold them on, so it was just a waste of time. It was also very annoying how the commander tried to tell Meech that if he doesn't cooperate, his sister could be brought back in for questioning. And the fact that she would even mention that Nicole was connected to Detective Lopez's murder was a big joke to me, okay? Anyway, while the 50 boys are locked up at the station, Terry says to Meech, what do we really know about Kato? And this gets Meech to thinking, okay? So when they get released, he has Kato take a drive with him and starts asking her a few questions. And during this time, Kato tells him that she got wrapped up in the game when she went to live with her father. And in my opinion, obviously, right, Kato makes the big mistake of telling Meech the name of her father, because we already know what happens later on, guys, but we'll get there soon. Anyway, Meech and Kato seem to have a moment, and he tells Kato that she's a good soldier, and Kato lets him know that it meant a lot to her to hear him say this. Then Meech gets a call that they got a location on Lamar, okay? And we find out that Lamar is at a mortuary where this dude named Alvin stitched up his wound. All right, do you know the name of that comedian again? He's so familiar, I don't remember the name. You guys can comment down below if you remember his name, but I just don't remember. But he was very disgusting. He was playing with the dead people, right? It was just like, what is wrong with him? And to the point where Lamar even had to call him sick in the head, because that really is sick in the head. Anywho. So like I said, Alvin stitched up Lamar's wound, but when Meech and his crew get to the mortuary, Lamar already escaped in a hearse, okay? And I thought that was very, very smart, but when we get to the end, we see that all that stuff was for no freaking reason, all right? Next, Terry and his parents sit down with Karen, and she tells him that they can't touch his settlement until he's 18. And if the parents want to touch the money or invest in it, they got to get permission from the surrogate's court. So Terry and Charles are not happy with this news at all, okay? And you can see the frustration because this is a struggling family, But the thing that had me tight was the fact that the settlement was $230,000, but Karen told them that after fees they would be getting $150,000, and I was like, well, who the heck was getting the $80,000? Who was getting $80,000 worth of fees? To me, that's robbery. I do understand that there's taxes that you have to take out or whatever, right? Because I don't know how it all works, but we also got to think about how much Karen got out of this. In my opinion, she shouldn't got more than $10,000, okay? She's not a high profile lawyer, and the case didn't seem that difficult to me, all right? So why was Terry left with $150,000 is my question. That just irked me, but whatever. I'm not a lawyer, and sometimes, like I said, the government be taxing like crazy. Next, Lamar meets up with Boom to proposition him, right? He tells Boom that he can help him expand by bringing him more business. But Boom tells Meech that he don't need more business and stay out of my lane. So before leaving, Meech asks Boom if he ever heard of anyone named C-Love, right? Or OG, which is Kato's father. And Boom responds by saying, yeah, I know that crazy MFer. But he wasn't no BK. He was with the Delray boys. Now remember, in that scene where Kato and Meech had gone off together, he was talking to her in the car, getting to know her or whatever, getting to know her. She told him that the name of the crew that her father ran with were called BK, right? So that stands for Black Killer or Black Killers or something like that. And so Meech is now finding out that this dude, C-Love, was not a part of BK. He was with the Del Rey boys, okay? And then Meech says, was Lamar with that crew as well? And Boom says, yes, both of those crazy dudes were. All right, so this is when Meech finds out. He can piece all of this together, that Kato was basically down with Lamar, all right? Next, Charles talks to Terry about starting a car service with his settlement money. He tells Terry that it's a great way to leave a legacy for Terry Jr., but Terry tells Charles that he's going to have to think about it. Next, Mickey meets up with Meech at a mechanic shop, and Meech asks Mickey if he broke up with Kato, and Mickey says, of course, I been did that. Then Meech starts asking if Mickey thinks Kato is loyal, and Mickey says, yes. So Meech starts going on and on about how loyal Mickey is and thanking him for being loyal, and we need more loyal people like you. So, of course, we see that Meech is doing reverse psychology on Mickey, and it definitely works because Mickey comes out with the truth about Kato working for Lamar. Then he tells Meech that Kato came to him for help to get rid of Lamar because she didn't want to mess with him anymore. So Meech tells Mickey that Lamar is crazy, but not a fool, and he would have seen Kato and Mickey's plan from a mile away. But then Meech figures that they can actually use this fact to their advantage. So at this point, Meech is a part of the plan now, and he's saying, maybe we want to make Lamar see us coming, right? Because now they're going to use that to their advantage. Did you think that the plan was going to work?
Honestly, no. I'm thinking, all right, Lamar, first of all, at first, I hated Lamar. I'm like, he needs to get killed off the show immediately. Then after that, I start walking around the house like, you can't stop the rain. Just like this. So I'm like, yo, you know what? Lamar is very, very entertaining. And if they kill him off the show will be very, very boring. So I'm like, all right, 50's smarter than that. They're not gonna kill him off the show. When that whole part comes up, I'm like, it's not gonna go through. They're not gonna kill him. It's not gonna happen. He's gonna find a way out of that. That's Lamar. Because how did he all of a sudden come out of the what was he at? A funeral home?
The
or something?
mortuary?
Yeah, how did he come out of there with a
hearse?
A hearse. How do you leave with a hearse? How do you know to leave with a hearse instead of coming out of the car that you came in? I figured he was too smart. But
that's true.
If you put everything else together, that's not how it turned out.
Right. And that's a good point, because after all these years that Lamar has been terrorizing the streets on his own without a crew, for him to get caught out there like that was seemed to be a little unlikely, but it happened, right? So but yes, this guy, he really, after he killed what's that kid? After Lamar killed Darius, he was like, he got to go. And y'all already know, when he killed PM, I was like, yeah, he gotta go. But before this, I was thinking, yo, Lamar is crazy, but he's entertaining for me. I like him. But then he killed PM, and I was like, okay, no, bro. You gotta go. You gotta go. Then he goes and kills Darius, and I'm like, yeah, you really gotta go. Then he beats up Mo, and I said, you cannot make it to season 2. You can't make it to season 2, but I totally agree that he's very entertaining. Where does the show go after this? Now, we've seen so many different times before where a show has thrived without a certain character that we thought the show really couldn't go too much further without that character. So, it could still do some things, but we're gonna put a pin in that and move on for a second. But we're definitely gonna get back to this whole situation. Next, Lamar gets to High Street and he's scoping the place out just like Meech knew he would. So Lamar goes to meet up with Kato at the bar and takes her outside with the gun to her side. But they run into Meech and he has his gun raised at Lamar. So Lamar puts his gun to Kato's head and Meech was like, we don't care about no rat chick working for you. And that's when B. Mickey comes out and raises his gun to Kato. And at this point, I just knew it was all for show, you know? And Mickey wasn't going to do nothing to Kato. But boy, was I wrong about that.
Right. I was thinking the same way. I'm like, he ain't going to kill her.
Right.
He's not going to kill her. And when he did
it without no hesitation.
I was completely in shock. That was grimy.
Yo, let me tell you exactly the words that came out of my mouth when I was watching it. Because I actually watched it because we just came back from a road trip, like a pre-Thanksgiving vacation. So I wasn't able to watch it until Monday morning. So I'm sitting there watching it and I'm like, I know, because she kind of ran away, right? And he went after her. And I'm like, I know he is not about to turn her water off. I know he's not, because I'm like, why would he go after her with the gun? When he went after her with the gun, I said, oh my gosh, this is not good. Because to me, if she ran, then that should have been that. There's no need for him to go up to her with the gun, because I thought it was just for show for Lamar.
Right.
And that's it. You know, last week's episode when she's like, I love you, help me, blah, blah, blah. He was very hesitant. Obviously, he didn't want to shoot her or nothing like that. But this time, he did not hesitate. And for me, that goes deeper than anything. I want to know what the real reason was why he killed her.
I think it's his loyalty, or to show his loyalty. Because if he didn't do it in a matter of time, Meech probably would have killed him himself, or cut his water off from the family chain, or from the 50 boys.
Mm-hmm. Remember when he said, "If I didn't tell you," B. Mickey said to Meech, "If I didn't tell you that Lamar, that Kato was working with Lamar, what was you gonna do?" And Meech just gave him a look like,
right.
Like, what you think I was gonna do? And at this point, Meech is not a killer, so I wouldn't even, for someone like B. Mickey, if you know that this guy never killed before, I wouldn't be scared of him. Especially even giving me that look like you don't scare nobody, yo. I had to turn off J-Mo's water for you. But yeah. So we see that Meech is willing to kill now. He's definitely opened that door. We don't know how many more bodies this guy is going to have. But let's get back into this, okay? So Meech shoots Lamar after Lamar tried to shoot him. And Kato runs off and B. Mick finds her and she says, I love you. And he just shoots Kato. Then says, I love you too, boo. And shot her again, right? He shot her dead right in the head, okay? Then the sirens are heard and Meech tells Mickey that they got to go. So we're going to talk about this also. This moment where Meech is saying, I'm going to watch you suffer. First, he said to Lamar, did you shoot my brother? And of course, he didn't say nothing. And that's when we see the scene with Kato and B. Mickey. When the sirens come, Meech did not finish Lamar off. So now back to your statement about 50 is smarter than that, right? So is Lamar dead? And he got shot in a certain spot where it's not necessarily fatal. He could suffer, he could bleed out, but it depends on where the bullet went and all that stuff, right? But he didn't get shot in the chest, he didn't get shot in the head. I mean, it's a very strong possibility that he could have lived. He did not give him a final shot to the head or a final kill shot, basically, right? And I think that was stupid for Meech, but at the same time, hey, I wouldn't mind at this point if Lamar comes back, because I am wondering who's going to be the next villain.
Right.
Who's going to be the next villain. But when we get to this other scene with B. Mickey and Bryant, which I'm going to talk about, but I'm kind of jumping ahead. Bryant does say that Lamar is dead. All right. So can we still say or theorize that Lamar is alive. Who knows? Right? Only time will tell. Next, Meech and Terry go meet up with Big L. And Meech's stupid behind decides that he wants to touch Big L's expensive merchandise. So when Big L shows up, she was not happy to see him at all, okay? Like, she turned into the killer that I kind of had a feeling that she was. Like, she showed that she means business. And I always had a feeling, even though she didn't kill nobody, but I always had this feeling about her that she's a dangerous woman, okay? She just been very nice and she talks very sweet and everything to Terry. But when she saw Meech, she turned up, all right? So she pulled out a gun on him and so did the guys that was with her. And she told Meech to get the heck out of her place of business because, you know, she don't do business with him. So Meech left and Big L told Terry not to ever disrespect her like that again by bringing Meech up there because she already told him, I don't want to work with him. We only going to have this agreement if me and you work together, not Meech, because she thinks that Meech is loud, all right? So, like I said, Meech leaves and Big L winds up giving Terry more product, which is 10 keys, okay? And then she sent him on his way. Next, B. Mickey is driving and thinking about Kato. You know, he's all sad and stuff like that. But he gets pulled over by Detective Bryant, who arrested him and took him in. Next, Terry sits down with his parents, and before he could tell them what he was thinking about, Wanda comes out with the baby and tells Terry that she's going to live with her cousin in Pennsylvania for a few months. She gave him a choice, right? And he took too long, so she made the decision for him. Next, Bryant tells B. Mick that he found his gun in his stash spot in the car. Bryant tells B. Mick that he doesn't need to tie him to Lamar's murder because their ballistics connected his gun to the murders of J-Mo and Kato. And like I've been telling you guys before, they wasn't showing B. Mickey's gun for no reason, okay? They talked about it. They zoomed in on it 1,000 times. Did you ever notice that throughout the show? They zoomed in on that gun.
Oh, yeah.
They talked about it so many times, and I just knew that something was going to happen, okay? So it was definitely going to come up. Now, let me remind you of the concerns that Terry always had about this gun in this J-Mo situation, all right? He asked B. Mickey if he got rid of the gun that he shot J-Mo with, and Mickey said, yes. What do you think? I'm stupid? So this guy, B. Mickey, has been irresponsible, and he was also lying about it, all right? But Bryant doesn't want B. Mickey. He wants Meech. And he tells Mickey that if he helps him get Meech, the gun will get lost on its way back to evidence. So, guys, what do you think he's going to do? Is he going to turn informant? So what do you think, Samir?
Is he going to turn in Meech?
Is he going to turn informant? Like, is he going to, turn him in?
Honestly, I think he is because before he got pulled over, he was thinking about Kato. Mm-hmm. So he's thinking, I'm assuming he's thinking, man, this loyalty thing with Meech, and I don't really need this. Because first of all the altercations that they get into, and Kato will always be like, you don't have to like be in this, you don't have to do this. So he's like, no matter what we go through, that's my brother. That's this, that's that. Mm-hmm. But then she's like every time she says something like to stop him, he pauses. So it's like he's thinking about something. So as time goes on, when he was driving and thinking about her the whole time, he probably starting to get a little fed up with Meech. So I feel like he probably will try to turn in Meech or try to do something to sabotage Meech's situation.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's good. The reason why I think he's gonna turn informant is because y'all already know I haven't been trusting B. Mickey from jump, all right? Whenever you look at the body language and his interactions with Terry, he doesn't seem to like Terry. I don't know if you ever noticed that, but I pay attention to all this. He does not seem to like Terry. Like, he scowls at him, all that stuff. If you ever go back and rewatch, just take a look at their interactions. I'm talking about from the very beginning of the episodes, like first episode, second episode, all that stuff, you know. All right. And so another thing is the conversation that he had after the whole shooting situation with Kato and Lamar. B. Mickey was like, man, I can't believe I killed my baby. And Meech was like, she was going to break your heart, you know, regardless, one of these days, sooner or later. You know, he was very nonchalant about it. And Mickey was offended by that. You know, he's like, this was not no easy kill. She's the first girl that I ever loved. So I think because he was so just like, whatever about it, who cares? Like, that's what you got to do for family. He doesn't appreciate that. And we already know that B. Mickey was already tired. He told Kato he's tired of being the third wheel and all that kind of stuff. So all these things are probably now weighing on him again like they were before. But even more so now that he done killed somebody that he was in love with and also confiding in. The things that he couldn't talk to Meech about, or when he wanted to talk about Meech, he was saying those things to Kato, which could have also been a reason why he killed her. You know, because I kind of feel like, because I don't trust B. Mickey, I feel like he's the type that he wants to silence people. If it ever came out what they were talking about, how they were saying, look, it's gonna be me and you, forget about Meech and Terry, let's do our own thing. Especially since Meech already told B. Mickey that he was checking out who was loyal to him, right? So now this might have had this guy thinking even more. So we don't really know, all right? But like I said, y'all already know your girl don't trust him. So he's definitely going to be an informant. That's what I think. And everybody thinks he's so freaking down. And let me tell you another thing that I'm happy about. I'm not really happy, but the fact that Kato is dead and Lamar is so-called dead, I'm not happy that it happened to them, but for the viewers who every single time I say something about B. Mickey and say, oh, he could have shot T, or he's not loyal, this and that, somebody always coming up talking about, oh, nah, he's straight. The real B. Mickey in real life is still cool with them, blah, blah, blah. I don't care about what happened in real life. This is loosely based. And the fact that they killed Kato off, who is actually still living to this day, that really proves a lot.
Yeah, it says, like, before the show starts, it says this is, like, a lot of this is loosely based for entertainment purposes. Is the person that Lamar is based off a real person, right? Yes. Is he still alive?
Yes.
Exactly. This is entertainment purposes.
Exactly. And so I'm glad that happened only because of that, because I'm tired of people stuck on the real story. It tells you every single episode that it's loosely based. And so it gets tiring when I get comments like, yeah, oh, he's straight, nah, he good, this and that. No, because I can't interact off of that. I like to interact with you guys. When we start bringing up the true story, I can't really relate to you because we going by entertainment.
I feel like the reason why they're saying that is because a lot of people know about Big Meech, or they know about Meech. So I feel like they saying that to keep you on your feet, or keep you guessing about the story that they're kind of switching up or changing the narrative.
You talking about the writers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like they're doing that to keep you guessing, because
exactly.
if you're watching it, that's like watching the same movie over and over and over again. You know what's gonna happen. Or listening to the same story and watching, or reading a book and then watching a movie or something. It's the same thing over and over.
Right.
So you change the story up a little bit. Oh, now you get a new perspective, or a whole new understanding, or just a whole nother way of entertainment.
Exactly. So the fact that, and another thing is, because I was always thinking that, okay, yeah, because Big Meech is still in prison, they're not going to have Meech kill younger Meech. They're not going to have him kill anybody, him or Terry, because, you know, you don't want to mess that up. You're trying to come home, this and that. But having him kill somebody like Lamar is okay.
Right.
Because he's still alive. So you can't say nothing about that. It's a safe kill is what I'm calling it. It's a safe kill. So that means that if Meech goes on and kills more people, it's most likely going to be people that are still living to this day. It's not going to be able to get him in trouble any way, shape, or form. So that's the reason why I'm glad it happened, because now I don't have to hear nobody else talking. I don't even be responding to all of that. All right. But anyway, next, Terry tells Meech that he wants out of the business. All right. He tells him that he wants to use the settlement to build a legacy for their family. He also tells Meech that he doesn't want to get shot again or go to jail. And Meech did not care, guys, okay? He was too busy trying to convince T that he was making a big mistake and that he wasn't going to be happy with the car service, okay? But this time, Terry stuck to his decision and walked away from Meech. Even after Meech brought up the fact that Big L won't work with him, Terry was like, that's not my problem anymore. So then we hear Big Meech narrating that he was demanding blind loyalty from his brother and that he didn't care about what T wanted or needed. Then we see Big Meech in prison and he's writing. He narrates that when Terry left the game, it should have given him pause, but it didn't. He wanted to be the king of Detroit, so he kept on going. But he didn't realize that his kingdom would be way bigger than his hometown, but also making it so he had a lot further to fall. And that is how the episode ended, guys. The season finale of BMF season 1. What did you think about that last scene with the brothers and Terry finally walking away?
I would say, well, being that I got an older brother, and just to put myself in this situation, you know, God forbid, but like, if I was to tell my brother, like, yo, I don't want to be in this no more. Like, I'm out. I don't want to do this no more. And thankfully, me and my brother, we got a relationship where we could talk sense into each other. Okay. Like, if I tell him, yo, if you do that, you know, like, that's gonna mess up this and mess it up. He's like, you know, you're right, whatever. If he said it to me, I'm gonna be like, shut up, I'm listening, but I'm just going, like, just to give him a little, you know, I'm probably gonna listen to him. Most likely, I'm gonna listen to him.
Giving him a hard
But
time.
at the end of the day, me and my brother, we would come into an agreement or understanding, and most likely, I would probably help get him out of his situation, or like he'll probably join my side, or well, like we'll probably both one out, if you know what I'm saying.
Right. So basically, you feel like you would both make the right. Like if you were to be the younger one in Terry's position to leave, you believe that Malachi would say, okay, you know what, me too.
Yeah, because of the fact that our relationship is that strong. You know, they got their relationship is strong too. The womb to the tomb. They think it's strong, but Meech is so self-centered and so selfish that he just don't see. His whole path is straight. Like, he don't see nothing else, nobody else's opinion, no nothing. He think, okay, if I give you this rack right here, you don't speak about this. If I give you this, he don't think about nobody else's feelings, which is a problem. My older brother, he always think about, if I tell him how I'm feeling about a situation, he'll, okay, I understand. Then I'll get out of it. This guy, it don't matter what's going on. It's his way or no way.
Right.
So that's probably gonna ruin their relationship in the movie or in the show. It's probably gonna ruin their relationship.
Yeah, well, in real life, they actually did have a separation. I always tell you guys that I don't know the story mostly. Like, mostly I don't know the story. I know that they existed. They went to jail. At some point, they separated. I don't know their story like that. But speaking of how self-centered this guy Meech is, so Meech says, what do you think about BMF? And Terry said, what does this stand for? Big Meech Flinnery. And I said, oh snap! I never thought of that, and that is so true. It does make
sense too. Honestly, before I started watching it, I know what BMF stands for. I'm thinking BF stands for Big Meech. I honestly thought that. But I know what the F stands for.
Right, Flinnery makes so much sense. Flinnery. I mean, yeah, that would work. That would work. But I also think that he came up with the black part from when he was talking to Kato with the BK, Black Killers. And then he just added, because the other guy before was like, how about Mafia Family or something like that. And then they added Black on there. But
I think it was before that. They said something about Mafia Family. That's what they was going to name themselves or something like that. And he was like, but we black. And he was like, okay, so Black Mafia Family. And then
they didn't say Black Mafia Family yet.
And then they said, so Black Mafia or something like that. Then towards the end, that's when they finally came up with the name.
Yeah, he did. So I don't know. I just feel like something about Kato with the Black Killers. Who knows? Whatever. Who cares? Big Meech Flinnery is what it really stands for. Thank you, Terry, for bringing that to the light, because that makes so much sense. And that is it for this video, guys. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that notification bell so you know when I upload more videos like this one. Thank you so much to my baby boys. I'm there. Oh, I meant to tell you guys that he's talking about him and his brother Meech and Terry. I think they're between 15 and 17 years old, and my son is 18. My oldest son is 20. So they're around, your age range and your little brother's age range. So, this is something really serious to look at, and what a lot of young dudes are into and what they're doing and stuff. And so it's very important for my kids sometimes to hopefully, when they watch stuff, even if it's fiction, they could learn. And I hope that you guys do learn, because I'll be trying to turn them into like the 90s stuff, like Juice and everything. Like, you see how Bishop acting? This is how friends could be. You don't need no friends but your brothers.
Really though.
Can't trust nobody.
My brothers are my best friends.
Yeah, so I'd rather them learn like that. I don't want them to get involved in none of that. But thank you guys once again. Thanks for Zamir. Hopefully he is watching Power Book 2, Ghost. So that season finale, that would be nice if we could have a little sit down again.
You know, maybe. Maybe.
All right, guys. Till the next time, you guys take care and be blessed. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye. You can't stop the rain. You can't stop the rain.
Okay, can I end it now?
End it.